Hey there, gamers. DreamcastGuy here, and today we're talking about Borderlands 4 because I was actually wrong about this game because I've been keeping a close track on the trailers, the features, the reveals, the long gameplay segments they've been posting, and for the most part, I'll admit that a lot of what they've been displaying of Borderlands 4 didn't exactly look fantastic. It seemed fine. It just seemed like Borderlands 3.5. When that's not the case, this might be the best Borderlands since Borderlands 2, and I say that after having played quite a bit of this. Now, I'm not going to put a score at the end of this video like I typically do, because the one thing I haven't had a chance to test is the end game. The best part of any Borderlands game is after you finish the main story, that's when the game really unlocks. You get extra difficulty levels and gun customization and extra stuff to keep you playing for hundreds and hundreds of hours after the 30-hour main story is complete. So I wanted to talk about this though, because I do have some thoughts. This is the most serious, dark, unfunny game. And in a lot of ways, even though this sort of abandons a lot of the critiques of classic Borderlands, I think it's grown to be better than the originals in a way. But let me explain, because I probably sound like a lunatic. Hi, hope you're having a great day. And if you could, please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now let's start with what this game is about, because one of the weirdest things about Borderlands 4 is that this one is completely open world, and it's the first game not to take place on Pandora. All the other games, Borderlands 1, 2, 3, they all took place on a singular planet, a prison planet, essentially, where people were trying to open this giant mysterious vault, going against psychos and monsters and aliens and other vault hunters. But this game, it's different because now we're on this planet called Kairos. Now, Kairos is actually extremely cool, way cooler than I ever thought it was actually going to be. So this is a planet that has been fully cloaked for hundreds of years. It's completely invisible. The only people that end up on it are the people that accidentally crash land on it. But the people who end up here, essentially, there is this ageless, unkillable, ancient guy called the Timekeeper. And he's not called that because of time travel powers. He's called that because he literally just keeps you there for all of time. Now, what he does is anybody who lands here, he puts a chip in your neck called the Bolt that lets you basically be mind-controlled, tracked, anything like that. Everybody on the planet has two options: be a servant of the Timekeeper, or rip your Bolt out, immediately lose your mind, and basically join the psychos, right? Well, our main character, she gets captured. Well, you can choose one of four main characters. They're all actually pretty good too. There's Rafa. He's an exo soldier, a dude with all sorts of like mecha abilities and stuff. There's Harlow, the Gravitor. This person actually has different gravity abilities that are pretty dang cool. Amon, the Forge Knight. He's basically a barbarian. And then my personal favorite, Vex, the Siren. Now, every Borderlands game has a Siren. Sirens are people that basically have a special style of like unique, universal magic abilities. But in this case, this Siren, she's essentially a necromancer. Now, as a person with literally a giant necromancer tattoo, I loved this character. But your character gets a special bot that basically now is able to block the mind control powers. So you're on the planet, you're not crazy, but you are still technically bolted. So the goal is you join the resistance, and now your goal is to try and find three big bolts, three big commander key cards, essentially, so you can get access to the Tower of the Timekeeper and kill him. What this means is that the entirety of the game, they give you full roam. Like 2 or 3 hours into the game, they just set you loose. They give you a car you can instantly summon at any time. They give you a grapple hook that lets you just climb pretty much anything with a mounting point. They give you a hover vest thing so you can actually fly from location to location a little bit. And then they just say, okay, here's all the bosses. Do them in any order you want. From what I've seen, every level actually levels with you. Every zone is always perfectly tuned to your difficulty. Now, the reason I like this so much is that it really just actually did something I never thought possible, which is that all the other Borderlands games were very contained zones, and they're fun, they're beautiful, they're great, but honestly, having it be so big, it feels so different. Back in the day, you could go to the hundreds of individual little like battle arenas that were in the Borderlands games, but you had to fast travel. You'd walk up to a computer and teleport from area to area. Now, there is still fast travel, but it feels different to drive to it, to climb to it, to fly to it, and actually cruise up to see the ecosystem around it, to see the different biomes from the deserts to the frozen wastes to the greenery of the Fairlands. But what I like the most is that, honestly, this open world feel also means there's constant side quests everywhere. People that need help, hidden dungeons, extra people that were actually born on this planet. And this brings me to something else about the game. This game is definitely not funny in the way the other Borderlands games were. I think one of the things that kind of helped Borderlands 2 and Borderlands 1 be so incredibly popular is the ridiculous humor. Stuff like Butt Stallion and a lot of the trash talk by Handsome Jack. It made it where not only was the gunplay fun, but the characters were iconic. They're quotable. They're ridiculous. Tiny Tina blowing up psychos and stuff. It worked because it was so absurd. And I think that in a lot of ways, what made a lot of people hate Borderlands 3, I always thought the combat in Borderlands 3 was fun, but the story was awful. They killed basically every beloved character for absolutely no reason in Borderlands 3. Borderlands 4, being a big reset, is also a tonal reset. There are funny side quests. I did encounter silly stuff on the side, but for the most part, the characters kind of acknowledge that while there are still jokes, the main campaign is kind of dark, especially comparing it to the other games. The Timekeeper is a manipulative lunatic who has ruled this planet for centuries. I mean, he is a truly evil being, and they treat him as such. I like that. Like, there is still silly trash talk. There are still bosses that just appear out of nowhere with a hologram to just say stupid taunts. But I like the fact that, honestly, a more serious tone for this, in my opinion, does work. I do still think there's too much talking. That was a problem I had when I beat the new Tiny Tina game. I still feel like that had way too much talking. This has the same problem, which is that a lot of times, even if people are explaining good lore or they are trying to do something, a lot of the side quests especially, they will literally not let you do anything until they're done talking. Even if you try to walk away, they'll call you on the phone to finish their speech. I do wish there was a skip dialogue option, which I know is very disrespectful to the writers of this game, but sometimes the rambly quips about, oh man, they crushed my chrysanthemums. There was a guy who just literally, his whole bit is he repeatedly talks about his chrysanthemums. I'm mispronouncing the flower because he stupidly mispronounces it as well. Those jokes, it's not only that they're not funny, but a lot of times because the combat is so fun, I want to get back to the looting and the shooting. If you've never played Borderlands, what these games do best is honestly the constant escalating gear. You're shooting people, you're getting a new purple. You have a crazy epic gun with wild stats and different brands and different scopes and abilities that make you constantly want to chase that new big upgrade, whether it is your passives, your shields, your grenades. I like the fact that there's so much to want to chase. Now, this is the thing I haven't had a chance to mess with yet. After you beat the game, you unlock different customizations. You can actually swap out parts of it. I haven't had a chance to mess with that much yet, which is why I'm excited. Even after having played so much, I want to play so much more of this. Now that the game, I think, is technically out as I record this, I think it's about to come out. Let's talk a bit more about that gunplay and specifically why Vex is such a fun character. What's always been great about the looting and shooting in Borderlands 4, in my opinion, is the chaotic nature of it. So many different monsters, so many different psychos, so many different people that are customized or mutilated, people that are half mech or have distorted super arms so they can uppercut you to the moon. I like the fact that, honestly, this still has that classic vibe of ridiculous, fun, addictive combat, but I think the new guns make it feel even better. So everything in this game is randomized. It's procedurally generated. Like the map is static, but like the guns you get every time you kill stuff, they just have a chance to drop incredibly powerful weapons. But the bonuses on those weapons being totally randomized is so addictive. There's different brands. Some brands, there would be like some guns that when you reload it, you can throw it and it becomes a homing missile that explodes. At one point, I got a sniper rifle where if I crit somebody, essentially if I shot them in the head, the bullet would ricochet off and hit somebody else. Do you know how fun it is to have a sniper rifle that does not one, but two separate headshots? This game is so incredibly fun. It made it where I kept just wanting to try everything, every assault rifle, every shotgun, every submachine gun, every brand. I like the fact that honestly, the new stuff feels almost even better than the old stuff. It's a constant refinement of what makes Borderlands so dang fun. But let's talk about Vex specifically. So, one of the things they've talked about in this game is that they're trying to make it more replayable than some of the other Borderlands games have been. But I just played Vex. I love her talent tree a lot because she has different talent trees where, since her ability is basically summoning monsters, you get a chance to choose different trees that have different abilities, whether it is a cat that can actually make you have health regeneration. My personal favorite was the Spectres and Reapers. I basically can make shadow clones of myself that will actually copy my elemental abilities. And this was great because not only did my Spectres feel incredibly strong when I get out a sniper rifle and they're sniping right alongside with me, that's fun, but they copy your elemental types, which is such a crucial, great design choice. So every gun has a different elemental type to it, and they all have a different purpose. Electricity is good for shooting mechs. Some things like acid is really good for melting armor. Some things like fire. Fire is, of course, very good against flesh. And I like the fact that a lot of times I could switch to a particular elemental weapon, summon my minions, and have them do extra damage against a boss. And on some of these bosses that are incredibly hard, if you've played any Borderlands, I'm sure you know there are a lot of tough bosses. You can also refight bosses, which makes them even freaking harder. It instantly feels like there is a reward for paying attention, for actually trying your hardest. I like this game a lot. I have to say that my two main problems with this game is one, oh my God. My two main problems with this game is one, I do think that there's still just so much humor that even when they are trying to be silly, I just don't think it works. I almost feel like those jokes back in the day, the older Borderlands games, I still think they're funny, but I just feel like that style of humor doesn't exist anymore. Just cramming jokes down your throat the way those old games did, that definitely didn't work in 3. And I think it's still here to a degree. I still just think the jokes are so forced and so unfunny, but they're not unfunny enough to kind of loop around. Sometimes the joke is so bad, you still get a laugh out of it. This doesn't hit that. My other problem is with the performance. Now, I'm playing this on PS5 Pro. I have had friends that are actually reviewing it on PC tell me that it is dang near unplayable on PC. Unplayable on PC. Which to me is a disgrace. I think this is another victim of Unreal Engine 5, right? Even on PS5, though, I've had pop-in, I've had frame stuttering, which is very strange. Even on performance mode, it seems like it would constantly drop. Anytime people start to talk or I'd enter a cutscene, it would go down to like 20 FPS. It just looks bizarre. I think they're probably going to do more performance patches. Even while I was reviewing this, they actually released multiple patches and stuff, but it definitely needs a bit more refinement. These have been some off-the-cuff thoughts. If I'm being honest, this is probably the most fun I've had with the Borderlands in decades. I mean, legitimately, it is that freaking good. I mean, it's a very different beast. I think the fact that I can just fast travel, the fact that I can just instantly summon a car, the fact that there's just action and dungeons and stuff in every direction, this is a different style of Borderlands, and I'm glad I was wrong. I thought this would be a cheap, another random cash grab. This is actual quality. But these have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts. How do you feel about Borderlands 4, and are you excited for it? Did you pre-order it? Did you play it? Or are you already sick of it? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. And thank you to 2K for the early review code.